Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm sat here with a sherry. This is going to be a sit down chat about all my newborn favourites, newborn must-haves, newborn essentials basically. So I hope you all grab a drink and join me. I'll try not to babble on for too long and make this short and sweet and hopefully informative for you. Maybe you're pregnant, maybe you're due to have twins, or maybe you're just interested in knowing what my favourite items were. Basically, for those of you who don't know me, I have twin boys that are currently 8 weeks old, and I thought what better way than to share with you now, while everything's fresh, what I found were essential items. So I'll be covering all of my favourites, from clothing to feeding products to larger gear, everything. Yeah, I could sit here and talk about loads and loads of different things. I could mention a million things, but I really am just focusing on things that I have found absolutely essential that I probably couldn't have lived without or wouldn't have wanted to live without in these past 2 months. Personally, I watched many of these videos before I had the boys, and I made a list of 1,000,001 items, and it is so hard to kind of reduce them down, especially if you don't have a huge budget. So take it with a pinch of salt. If there's something that you think I haven't mentioned that you absolutely can't live without, trust your instincts and absolutely go get it. I'm just going to mention what I bought. We didn't actually buy that much, in my opinion. I think we scraped by with what we thought was essential. Always there's cheaper options probably of some items, but yeah, we didn't go crazy with what we bought. So, and some of it maybe wasn't as useful as I thought. So I'm just touching base today on what we found really, really useful in these past 2 months. Okay, so let's have a drink before we start any of this. Let's start with clothing. Now, I am going to try and find some items to show you, but for clothing, I could not have lived without these newborn vests. These are the Gerber brand, and I like them because there's only 2 pop-ups. I think the Carter's brand has 3. Doesn't really make any difference, but in the middle of the night, 2 is better than 3, right? But these are so useful. My boys were born in September, so I guess it's been a colder time of year, and they literally wear these under all their outfits, and then in the night I have Swaddles and they just wear this underneath, so I don't have too many clothes to be faffing about with if I need to do diaper changes in the night. But also what's great about these, and another reason to have a lot of these stocked up, is in the beginning they did have quite a lot of residue coming off their umbilical cord stubs, and it just stains and it won't come out, so we just threw these out. They're cheap, you can buy packs of 5 and things, and you can just get through loads of them, plus all the spit up, blowouts, all those kind of things. So a lot of these. Also, I did just learn that the ones that have these little V's, you probably don't know if you can see, around the neck, you can actually open them up and they can go on from the bottom to make it easier to change them. So a lot of vests, absolutely essential. The next thing in clothing is some zip up onesies. Now the zip up ones are so important. I'll put a picture up here of what I mean. I believe you can get these in Carter's and probably loads of other places. We didn't actually have many of these at the beginning. We had all the button up ones, and the zips are just so much easier, especially when you're changing them so frequently in the beginning. So definitely get some of those on hand. Going on to sleeping. One thing I would say is essential that I have actually mentioned in what I used in my hospital bag video, which I will link here if you're interested to watch that, is Swaddles. Guys, make sure you get Swaddles, even if you think your babies don't like them at the beginning. It's well worth persevering. I found that my boys didn't necessarily like going in them, but once I wrapped them up tightly and put a pacifier in, they really do settle down. They may resist going in it at the beginning, but it makes them feel snug, and I just think they are great. So we use these Halo sleep sacks. Yes, they weren't cheap, but there's lots of other brands that do exactly the same thing, which I believe are much cheaper. I did just see some because my boys are now not fitting in the newborn size anymore, so I was looking for some new ones, and I think I found some in Target for about 20 bucks each. But these are great. If your babies don't like their arms swaddled in tight, you can leave them out, or you can velcro it around their arms to keep them really snug. So easy. They also have the zip from the bottom, so you can change diapers in the night quick and easy. So they are a must-have. What I will say about these Swaddles is it's always worth buying a few different types. Personally, they're the ones I loved. There's also the Love to Dream or Dream Up Swaddle. Can't remember the exact name, but this one allows your hands to go up. I'll show another picture here. And one of our babies, Jack, he actually does love his arms up, so that's also handy. But if you get a couple, chances are one of your twins is going to like one and the other might like the other, so you'll probably end up using them. And you can always stock up after they're born on the ones that they like, but have a few different ones there on hand. The next item that I will talk about is the Snuggle Me. This is also called a Sleepyhead in the UK, and I believe they also call them Docker Tot here in America. I guess they're just different brand names depending where you are and which ones you buy, but we got the Snuggle Me. This was on our registry and someone bought it, and I am so grateful. This thing has been absolutely, like, I don't think I could have lived without it. I don't know if they advise that babies sleep in these. That's up to you. That's a personal choice. I know a lot of people that do let their babies sleep in them overnight. We have this Sleepyhead on hand for if one of them is just struggling to get to sleep. We can alternate them in it. We only have the one, so they don't rely on it to go to sleep, but it definitely helps. And at the very beginning, when they were being super fussy, this thing was a lifesaver. So I definitely think that this is an essential item. Again, I'm really glad I didn't get two. I do know people that have had babies that didn't really get along with them. So if you're having twins, probably well worth getting one. If you're having a singleton, that's totally up to you. Maybe you can rent one or borrow one or something. The next item is the sound machine. We bought a Hatch. I'll put a picture up here. Definitely there's millions of cheaper options out there, but this thing is brilliant. Not only does it help me in the night when I need to know the time and need to know if they're crying because they need to be fed or if they're just crying because they're fussy. I can see it from a million miles away, and it's also really cool that you can change the colours, you can change the noises. There's rain sounds, there's white noise sounds, jungle sounds, loads of things. So it's good fun, and I think the boys will love it when they grow up a bit and they can choose the colour of the night light and the sound of the night light and all that stuff. So really useful, and I know my nighttime feedings would have been very tricky without this thing. Okay, this item kind of falls under sleeping and gear, but I went back and forth wondering what the hell to put the boys to sleep in. A lot of people buy bassinets right by the side of the bed. I had spoken to a lot of twin mums who said that their twins were so noisy they had them in a separate room by 6 to 8 weeks. So I didn't want to invest in a bassinet only to put them in their own room 6 weeks later. So I decided just to get 2 cots. Luckily we have enough room by the side of our bed to put the cot. I'll be honest, it's not ideal. I have to get up and reach my arm around to help them out in the night, and yeah, if I need to pick them up I have to get fully out of bed. But in all honesty, I'm glad that we didn't go down the bassinet route. For one, you'd have to get 2 or invest in the Halo double bassinet, which is not cheap, and I just feel like I don't get up that often for them, and I don't want them to rely on me to be holding them that much through the night. So I really only get up and pick them up if I really have to, and fingers crossed they've been really good through the night up until now. So hopefully it'll all go well, and in a month or so we'll be moving the cot back into here. But yes, at the moment they're both sleeping in one cot together, swaddled, and they sleep through each other's crying. So let's see how long that lasts. The next item is the pack and play. I think it's the pack and play. Those items that you can pack up and actually take away with you. We did go on a mini break, a mini weekend away, and this thing was a lifesaver. This is what we used for them to sleep at night in and to lie in during the day if they needed to. But yeah, an essential item for traveling. And we also used this downstairs in our house when they were really newborn. They used to lie in these bassinets throughout the day. Before they were big enough to kind of go in the swingers and the chairs, they just went in this all day, every day. So I don't know what would have done without that, to be honest. That was an absolute essential item for us. Okay, going on to feeding, my favourite part. This was without doubt the best purchase for feeding, the Onesie pillow. Guys, this thing, I was like, no way in hell am I ever going to tandem feed. I could not imagine it, and I think it took me, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks after getting back from the hospital to even attempt it, and now it's going fine, thank God, because it saves so much time. But even if you don't end up tandem feeding and you have twins, this thing is a must-have item. If your babies are struggling with wind or gas, they can sit up in this on their own even before they have their neck strength. We just prop the boys up and they just love it. Now our boys tend to be really fussy from 6 till 10 in the evening at the moment, and we can put this on the bed with us and we can watch a movie, or we can put it on the sofa with us and watch a movie, and it just means that they're right there at hand. And it's also really nice because they're upright after they've eaten. We prop them up in this after we've burped them, or if I'm on my own and I'm alternating burping, I can alternate the other one in this pillow, and it's just a little bit more upright than putting them in a chair or a swinger or something like that. So I don't know, this thing has been absolute lifesaver. And I've heard that once you're bottle feeding, it's amazing because you can kind of feed them both together at the same time, and then eventually they can learn to place the bottle like on themselves and drink from it. So yeah, absolute newborn essential there, the Onesie pillow. Next up is breast pump. The breast pump is a little bit of a sore subject for me because we didn't go down the route of insurance, which I wish we had. I did inquire and I knew that I was going to be covered, but once I got to the hospital and went for the hospital grade pump, it was all very confusing, and we ended up just renting it and paying for it ourselves. And I know we could have got it covered, so I'm still trying to figure that all out. But I do recommend that you do your research. I've heard from many people that the Medela and the Spectra are probably the best go-to pumps that I've heard out there. Mine is Medela and it's hospital grade, and it's fantastic. Yes, there's some downsides. I cannot move from the chair when I'm pumping, and it's a good 15 minutes of a cycle. And if I don't have my husband here, it's really tricky. If the babies are crying, I cannot move and I cannot get to them. But that's a whole nother story and a whole nother thing. But you're definitely going to need a breast pump if you're trying to breastfeed twins. There's no doubt about it. So definitely look into that, and I would advise Medela or Spectra. I know there's some cordless ones out there now which sound fantastic. You can move around and do other things and see to them while you're pumping, but I don't think they're as effective. So that's something that you may want to look into. I don't know if you can hear that, but the boys are crying down there. And I think Alan's probably going bonkers, so I may have to go and help him, but let's carry on while we can. So the next item that I would say is kind of essential is bottles. This is kind of like the Swaddle thing. I wouldn't go crazy and buy loads of one type of bottle. Get a few different brands and see which your baby's like drinking from. Pardon? Yeah, I've got to go and help him. I'll be back. Okay, where was I? I was talking about bottles. Bottles like the Swaddles is definitely worth investing in a few different brands. I believe I got Dr. Brown's, Tommy Tippy and the Medela bottles, and the boys seem to like the Dr. Brown's so far, but we're still mixing around just seeing which they drink from best. And at the moment they're not really drinking from bottles that much, so by the time that they are, hopefully they'll have settled on one and we can buy more of them. So that's something else I do advise. If you're planning on bottle feeding from the get-go, get a couple of different ones, and then after a week or so, if you know what they're taking to one brand, you can go and stock up on those. So going on to gear and just being out and about, definitely invest in a good stroller. If you're having twins, you're going to want a double stroller. We went with the Vista. It was not cheap, but it is amazing. So easy to wheel about. It has one seat on top of the other, so it's really good going into shops, through doorways. I know that our doctors for the boys, they have an elevator that has literally like the smallest door. If you had one of those side-by-side strollers, you wouldn't actually get into the elevator. So that for me was a big thing, and I'm really glad that we got the stroller that we did. Going into that, again, the car seats that you get for your stroller, definitely invest in those. Obviously car seats are a huge thing. boys keep crying and Alex is trying to do the dinner. I'm trying to get this done, but it's becoming a bit of a challenge. Can you hear that? Okay, hopefully I'm going to get this done now. So yeah, the stroller was our Vista stroller is amazing, and I definitely recommend that if you're looking around. Our car seats are Upper Baby. I think they're the Mesa car seat, and they're fantastic. Really easy and simple to put in the car. And the amount that you're in and out of the car, and with twins, you want to invest in an easy transitional car seat. Next up is, this is something that we just recently got after we came out of the hospital, and it has been a lifesaver. Depending where you live and your climate, we're in Seattle, we have a lot of rain, so we bought these rain covers and we don't go anywhere without them. You never know if it's going to start pouring with rain, and we walk a lot because we have a puppy, so for us it was essential that we have these rain covers, and they are fantastic. We can walk them whatever the weather and they're staying dry and warm. The next thing is coffee holders. This is a newborn must-have of mine because I love coffee and I cannot walk with this stroller and hold a coffee. It's actually surprisingly heavy, the stroller, when you're pushing it with the two babies in, and I tried it before we invested in the little coffee cup holder, and coffee was going everywhere. So it's not really a must-have, but in my eyes it's a must-have. The next thing in gear is a baby carrier. We have the Bajon baby carriers. I believe you can have a baby in it up until 30 pounds, I think, something like that. The babies love it. I don't actually love having it on me. It makes you so hot and bothered, but it's quite nice. They're really close to you and they sleep well, and if you don't want to be pushing a stroller, it's great. For me, I can't use it unless Alec's with me. I thought I might use it around in the house a lot if one of them wants to be held a lot, but it's not something that I want to go down that route of like getting them used to me holding them, so I don't use it around the house. But we do use it again when we're walking, and it's a nice change from pushing a stroller. And sometimes if you're in a place that's mucky or that you can't push a stroller, it's a great option to have. I know there's millions of other brands. A lot of people talk about the Solly wrap, I think, that's pretty handy. It involves a lot of like wrapping and tying, and it looks quite confusing, but people love it. But ours are the Bajon baby carriers. They're quite heavy duty, but they're really simple. You just like have like 3 clips and the baby sits in nice and snugly. The next must-have is a diaper bag. You can see mine there. It is by Mina Bay. It's a company in LA, I believe, and it was a very expensive bag, but I use it every day, and I'm not about to be using any sort of handbag that I once used before having them, because you need so much stuff. I'm actually thinking of doing a video with what's in my diaper bag. If anybody will be interested, let me know in the comments below and I'll do a video on that for you. But yeah, I use this thing on the daily, love it. And you definitely want a backpack for a diaper bag. Don't go getting a shoulder bag or something. It's super heavy, and you just want the weight on your back, especially carrying your baby around all the time. You don't need any extra weight on your shoulders. You want it evenly distributed. So yes, that's it for a diaper bag. Definitely invest in a good diaper bag. Doesn't need to be expensive though, there's loads of them out there, so just do your research and pick one that you like, because you're going to be using it every day. The last thing in gear is some swingers or chairs or something that they can sit in the daytime. You can only hold them so much, and especially with 2. When I'm on my own, I cannot, like, I literally only pick them up if they're crying, because that's a lot of the day, and the rest of the time I need to do my own things and like eat and go to the toilet and function, so they need to be sitting in something. So we didn't spend much on these. We were left with a Mamaroo from the previous owners of our house. They kindly left it for us, as I guess they were done having children, and I was gonna buy another one when I found out I was having twins, but I'm really glad I didn't now. They're not cheap, they're about $200, and honestly, the babies do not prefer the Mamaroo to the cheap Target $20 chair that we have. The Mamaroo is electronic and it moves and it makes all these sounds, and that's great, but the boys don't know which chair they're in. They don't fall asleep quicker in one than the other. They don't seem to enjoy one more than the other, so I wouldn't personally invest in these expensive chairs. Yes, they look nice in your house, and these cheaper ones are normally a ghastly colourful pattern, but they do the job and they don't break the bank. So yeah, it's only going to be a short time that they're sitting in those, and then they'll be crawling and running around. I'm glad that we didn't get 2 Mamaroos. Okay, now going on to a bit of a broad spectrum of things. I've just gonna call it accessories because I don't know what to call it, miscellaneous I guess. One thing we could not live without is diapers, of course, diapers, but I would not go and buy loads of diapers of one brand. Again, it's like the swaddle and the bottle thing. You don't know what your baby is gonna fit comfortably or wear, and which one you're gonna get along with. We came out of the hospital having used Huggies. We continued using Huggies, but we found that they didn't fit them that well. Once they started peeing a bit more, we were having so many problems with pee leaking through the diapers that we went on to Pampers, and they've just been great, so we've stuck with them. And you do want to try and go with a brand of diapers that have a reward system. We're using Pampers Rewards and you get so much money back. It's definitely worth it. I know Huggies do it, I'm not sure what others, but when you sign up you get a load of freebies in the mail as well, so definitely look into that once you know which ones you want to stick with. The next thing is a diaper pail. We bought the Ubbi diaper pail. I think it was about $70, so not that cheap, but the thing is fantastic. I never smell the diapers through it. And I believe someone told me that you don't need the Ubbi brand plastic bags. You can use just household plastic bags, so that's handy. So I definitely recommend one of those. Wipes. We use water wipes. We find them so great. We've not had any diaper rashes or any of those problems. I think it's like 99.9% water, so what can go wrong there? Another thing is an activity mat. You're going to want this for tummy time. We went with the Lovevery, not sure how you say it, playmat, and I have not been disappointed. It was so nicely packaged. It's got loads of little features to it that are really nice. It comes with cards, it comes with instructions from I think 0 to 1 year of how to teach them and what to do with them on the mat, and I definitely recommend it. It's really great. The boys seem to love it, so that's a huge recommendation and a must-have. And lastly is a nail file. Guys, I don't know if you're like me, but I did not want to start clipping my boys' nails. I think I would get their finger or make them bleed or something, so I'm trying to talk really fast because my battery is dying. So we bought this nail file. I don't know the brand. I'm going to go and check it in the bedroom now, but I'll link it down below. That'll be the one item that I link because I don't know what it is, and it's so good. It comes with all these little files that you can change with their age, and you can literally just press this file all over their finger. It does not hurt. I've tested it on myself. It does not cause them to bleed, nothing, and their nails grow like madness. And sometimes when they're feeding me and they're trying to grab and they're just like grabbing everything, it hurts. That's all I will say. It hurts. You want to stay on top of their nails, getting them trim. So definitely get a nail file if you're not happy clipping their nails. So I am so hot and out of breath because I'm trying to rush this, but I think that's it, guys. If you're watching and you have any personal favourites that I may have not mentioned that you think are essentials, please comment them below. I know it will help any soon-to-be mama out there if they're watching. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks again for watching. I probably have already said that, I'm repeating myself. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be, but guys, it's November. We're coming up to Thanksgiving, and I'm really excited for the next Bake With Me video. If you watched my last one, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit scatty, and I'm hoping the next one's going to be good, and I'm really excited for what I might bake. I'm thinking a pie for Thanksgiving, but again, if you've got any recommendations for that, challenge me with a recipe because that would be really fun. I would love to do something that you guys recommended. So yeah, I'll see you all next week and enjoy your weekend. Bye guys.